Welcome to Newspaper Review on the Daybreak Show. This is where we take a look at some selected national dailies and then we'll make something out of it. Our reviewer will be joining us at the studio any moment from now. But before then, let's take a look at Daily Trust. As a tradition, I have a copy in front of me, and the screaming story here is on budget padding. It says insertions by National Assembly legal. That's coming from Bagudu. The writers attached to the story, Akpabio won't resign, and Senate spokesman replies PDP. Principal officers received over 200 million naira. That's coming from Ndume. And Atiku demands probe. Page 4 has details of that story. Above that, we have how man allegedly killed sister's husband over 20 naira sought. These are kind of headlines you see and say, how did this happen? How did we get here? But page 10 has details of this story. Tinubu writes National Assembly demands reenactment of Student Loan Act. Page 5 has details. Let's take a look at the bottom now. Port Harcourt refinery to commence operation in 2 weeks. That's a bold one. Page 19 has details of that story. Then Kano POS operator returns 9.9 million naira mistakenly transferred to his account. Page 10 has details of that story of a good Samaritan there. Drunken father mistakes 9-year-old daughter for wife. And now in my head, I'm thinking, what happened? Get details of that story on page 7. Now we have a pictorial of traders stranded and ordered display wares outside at Wuse Market yesterday as activities shut down and following Tuesday's violence in Abuja. All right. Let's take the last one that is on school abductions. NSA service chiefs and northern governors meet as bandit demands 1 billion naira for 287 Kuriga pupils. And then EU launches 40 million euros empowerment fund for Sokoto, Kano and Jikawa. That's the stories and the front of the Daily Trust newspaper. Let's move on to Punch newspaper. The lead story on the Punch says it's on school attacks, and it says bandit demand 1 billion naira for 287 pupils and issue March 27 deadline. It said kidnappers called on Tuesday, gave us 20 days to raise ransom, says community leader. Another writer says hostages held in difficult location used as human shield to prevent bombardment. Defense headquarters with that statement there. Above that, we have Senate reviews 30 trillion naira loan documents and summons CBN officials. Page 36 rather of the Punch has details. And then Facebook, Netflix, Google, others pay 3.2 trillion naira tax. That's coming from MBS. Page 36 has details. Then Port Harcourt refinery get 450,000 barrels crude, resumes operation in April. Page 35 has details of that story. And then we have politics over. It's time for governance. Tinubu tells governors as iftar. Page 22 has details. Then the bottom strip, Nigeria leads as ECOWAS members default on 150 judgments. And another story says many injured, 18 arrested as youths attack Ogun Monarch. Page 4 and 5 of the Punch has details of that story. Amotekun heightens security in Osun boundary communities. That's page 41 there. That's all the stories in the front of the Punch newspaper for this morning. Let's move on to the Guardian newspaper. And of course, the Guardian newspaper, there's a lot going on in front of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Let's get to it as soon as we can. All right, there's a jackpot of modern slavery. There's a pictorial depicting that. That's a big story this morning. It says how UK visa system deportation risk silence exploited care workers. All right, pages 4 and 5 has details of that story. And federal government seek new Student Loan Act jail term for offenders. And Kaduna abductors demand 1 billion naira 13 to kill victims. Page 29 has details. And we have another one that said man bags live jail term for introducing neighbor's daughter to pornography. That's page 8, a commodity in that story. Then 2 years after ascension, Olibado joins as sisters at 82. A very sad development. Page 2 has details. And then retired officers to sue IGP Scribe over contempt of court order. Page 8 has details. Akpabio threatened over Ningi's suspension as federal government dismisses budget padding claims. Page 8 has details. Internet outrage cripples business operations in Nigeria and orders. Page 15 has details. And lastly, IPOB rejects ranching in Southeast, urges governors to defy presidential order. And that's the stories in the front of the Guardian newspaper this morning. The last paper we'll be taking is from, the last story is actually from the Nigerian Tribune. The lead story is on insecurity. The NSA, security chiefs and northern governors meet as military working with foreign partners to rescue abducted citizens. That's coming from the DHQ, Defense Headquarters. Page 5 has details of that story. Above that, we have Oba Balogun Olubadan of Ibadan land joins as sisters. That story started on the front page. And then we have lawmakers have no business with constituency project. Akintola with the statement. Federal government set aside 100 billion naira for consumer credit in 2024 budget. That's coming from Bagudu. Page 2 has details. And Tinubu transmits student loan bill to reps. Page 2 has details of that story. And below the lead story, we have international undersea cables in West East Africa damaged and internet services and banking affected. All right, you might just want to know if Nigeria is included and maybe what we've been experiencing in the recent days is associated with this. But get more details on page 4. Get all the facts right, all right? And then alleged budget padding. Atiku demands immediate probe. Page 2 has details. And then we have police recover body parts of murdered Rivers DPO 6 months after. A very sad one there. Page 12 has details of that story. And then Port Harcourt refinery to begin production in 2 weeks. Kyari says, and he also says that 450 barrels of crude delivered and crude oil production increases in Nigeria and Libya. That's coming from OPEC. And now Nigerians are asking, would this reduce the cost of fuel, the price of fuel rather? All right, joining us this morning to review the papers, we have Nuruddin Abdullah. He is an editor with the 21st Chronicles. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good morning, Nice Thank you very much. And of course, let's take a look at the story now on the budget padding. This story has been making a lot of rounds from, I think this is the 3rd or 4th day, from last week actually. And right now, Akpabio won't resign. The Senate spokesman is replying. And then the insertions by the Assembly legal, that's coming from the Minister of Budget and Planning. Now, taking a look at all of this development, what can you make of this story at the moment?
I think there are two fundamental things. Like the minister said, the National Assembly statutorily has the powers to alter, to add, or to deduct the appropriation bill transmitted by the president. What the presidency transmits to the National Assembly is simply estimates, proposal. They are constitutionally mandated to approve every kobo to be expended by the federal government. Therefore, they have that right to add, to increase, to change, and what have you. So, unfortunately, the padding lexicon came into our political landscape during the Buhari's era, 2015, 2016, during the Saraki's National Assembly, you understand. The second thing is this, the constituency project issue. Like the Minister of State, Buhari said the budget has been padded because some lawmakers moved projects from location A to location B, C, X, Y, and Z. They have that right. If the president or if the presidency has an issue with that, they should go to the Supreme Court for interpretation. We saw what happened during the last days of Buhari, where he just hurriedly changed our national currency. some state governors went to court. And there was a judgment faulting the procedure adopted by the federal government. So if constituency project, the lawmakers, some of the lawmakers or some of the executive and believes that it is illegal, they should seek interpretation. Why do we have constituency projects? If they are elected as a House of Reps member or as a senator and go to the two chambers, propose, contribute, make the best bills you can think of, your constituency will not give a damn. If you like, all the bills, sponsor all the bills. If you don't buy motorcycles, if you don't find jobs for your constituents, if you don't share money, if you don't buy fertilizer, if you don't share palliatives, your second term is zero. So that is it. Many Nigerians don't even understand the workings of the National Assembly. They are there to make laws, not to build feeder roads, not to construct boreholes, not to construct PHCs, not to do this and that. But if you don't do that... So are you faulting
the constituency projects now? And the money allocated?
That is why the constituency project came into being. It has been there since 1999. An allocation, a proposal is usually being made and transmitted to the president, by the president to the National Assembly. And it is shared among the 109 senatorial constituencies and 260 House of Reps federal constituencies across the country. And it is the psyche of Nigerians. You see lawmakers going helter-skelter, looking for jobs from one federal ministry to the other, even buying. Whereas that is not their statutory mandate. Exactly. But if you don't do that, Nigerians will not even understand you. So these are the issues.
There sure a lot of issues concerning the budget padding and, you know, this recent development.
But padding, as just like the minister mentioned, is legal. It was the Buhari and his men that said that they have, you know, and what
like you mentioned, the lexicon, the padding lexicon. But let's move away from the padding issues.
Just briefly, maybe the only thing, like if you look at the Ningi saga, is this. The NJC, the National Assembly should mandate the NJC, NNDC, FCT, and what have you, to submit their budget breakdowns during the consideration, not at the committee level. Because if this statutory transfer that is causing all the uproar,
this could help
because they are vague. We just allocate 30 billion to this, no breakdown. To deepen transparency and accountability, particularly to non-Nigerians, their budget should be made public, just like the federal government budget. Minister is arguing that, these agencies are constitutionally created, right? But the National Assembly has the right that when the federal government is sending its own estimates, they should bring it along those agencies that are creation of the Constitution, so that Nigerians will know. Let's know what the NJC is doing. And what have you. When we do that, you know, all this padding, whatever, you know, it will be. But as it is now, there are billions, some even trillions, that are being inserted into the budget without any specific budget line.
Interesting that.
You understand?
Okay.
But if they are clear on this, pick the budget. You approve 1 naira, it is going for this. Then we'll see how. Take for instance, there are some budget lines, billions or hundreds of millions for deep freezers. You know what that means? I remember a minister, one of the senior ministers under Buhari's administration, he had about 3 ministries under him. They inserted 20 billion. Hanging. Just hanging. No breakdown, no nothing.
That could actually compound some of the problems.
So the bureaucrats have their way, but you know, to stamp out corruption, to deepen transparency, And to cultivate confidence of the public, these statutory transfers should come along with their breakdown. Let Nigerians know what the billions, what the trillions are going for.
All right. So let's take a look at the Port Harcourt refinery now to commence operations in 2 weeks. We've anticipated this, and it seems like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Do you see this happening? Like in 2 weeks, like they mentioned, because we've had a shift of date, we've had the facility touring and all of that.
What is the capacity of the Port Harcourt refinery? So we have now shifted grounds from the Dangote refinery. You know, there was celebration that when Dangote refinery comes on board, it will crash the price of the PMS.
Oh, a lot of Nigerians are anticipating that.
But that did not happen. The truth is this. It's a good development that at least we will now restart local refining of what we consume. But that's not enough. That is not enough. So Nigerians shouldn't be overexcited.
Well, shouldn't be thrilled about this development.
No, it's a good development. But we have a refinery in Port Harcourt. We have it in Kaduna.
Yes.
2 in Port Harcourt. It's just one. We have 4, but only 1 is coming on board. So a lot needs to be done.
Exactly.
Just like is it GCO of the PCL?
Melekari?
Yeah, exactly. Did in ensuring that the Port Harcourt refinery is back on the track. Let's repeat the same thing for the Kaduna, the Wari refinery. When you have the 4 working, then we should begin to talk, and we should begin to okay, by the end of the 2nd quarter or 3rd quarter of the year, or the 1st quarter of next year, we will no longer be importing the refined product. But for now, it is not yet Uhuru, like they said.
Okay, so let's take a look at this last story quickly because we have limited time. IPOB rejecting ranching in Southeast and urges governors to defy presidential order. What do you make of that story?
It's IPOB, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's political, just a political statement. But we are finding solution. They should know that ranch is not free. During the Buhari's time, Nigeria got some money from, I think, Netherlands also. I'm not, I can't remember correctly. The then governor of Benue State, Governor Samuel Otom, you know, he was the commanding officer of the anti-ranching whatever.
Basically, he didn't yield so much.
But he realized that it was later, the moment the federal government mentioned that, he went all about the place, they wouldn't accept it. But he saw like the present minister of works in Ibonyi. He benefited from it. There was about 2 or 3 billion allocated to certain pilot states
to
do the ranching. It's not free, for being said. It's an economic development. That's why it is called ranching. And unfortunately, you know, most of our governors are not serious. I'm sorry to say that. I don't know why there shouldn't be ranch in Kaduna, in Niger. It's purely business. It has nothing to do with politics and whatever you know. You get money for it doing that. You get value for it.
Right.
But unfortunately, you know, like the IPOP, you know, they politicize everything under the sun without even knowing
Thank you very much, Editor. We wish we have more time. There's always we wish, but you know, we're grateful for the time that we have, and we're grateful that, you know, we're able to touch some of these stories and giving us an insight of that. Thank you so much, Mr. Nuruddin Abdullah of the 21st Chronicles,
Century Chronicles.
The Century Chronicles, as our reviewer this morning, and like most Fridays. I'd like to say thank you for being a part of the show from 8 a.m. till this time, and don't forget that our live YouTube streaming is ongoing at the moment. But at the top of the hour, we'll be taking a look at the sports program. Of course, if you want to know what's happening in the NFF and the English Premier League and all the leagues. Okay, this is a program you should look up to, as the sports senator will be here on 360 Sports. But from here on Daybreak, I'd like to say thank you for watching. I will see you again next week. Don't forget that Daybreak Extra is on Saturday tomorrow. Stay with us. And my name is Martia Umar. Thank you.